diagram that they have. Can you guys see that right there? On their Venn diagram, they have mass, amount of matter in an object. We got that already. Check. Mass stays the same unless you lose or gain matter. That's different. And then SI unit or standard instrument unit, kilograms, English unit, slug. That we're going to cross that out because we don't do that. So what I would recommend doing is down here in this big space. If you are a person who messes up quite a bit or you don't want your notes to look sloppy, drawing circles gets difficult. So I tend to draw squares just because it's easier for me to see them. You guys see that square? It's really faint. See, this is why we use pencils when we're drawing and adding things in science class. I'm sorry, this is taking me a second. So this is how, these two squares, this is how I do my Venn diagrams or double bubble because I have a problem with making mistakes. It's my timer. So then I'm going to come over and pickles. I'm going to come over it, my pencil with my pen just to give it some definition so that I can see it a little bit better because research shows us that pictures and color help us retain it longer. So then I'm going to use their example and I'm going to write key things that I was like, ooh, that was interesting. So I'm going to label one of these mass and then one weight. So then I'm going to come through amount of matter in an object. I'm really sorry about the cord, guys. So I'm going to use my two colors of pen because making things in color is where it's at. So with mass, I'm going to put that it's an amount of matter. And then I'm going to write stays same unless matter changes. Because that was the key thing when I read these in the Venn diagram that I was like, oh, this, I didn't know that. That was different. And then I'm going to put its standard unit of measurement in there as well. Notice that I went outside the line. That's okay. They're your notes. If they're kind of sloppy, then they're kind of sloppy. If you need to redo them, then you redo them. But don't spend 20 minutes in class trying to make it the best, most perfect notes ever. You just won't have time. So in the middle piece here, property of matter can be measured on Earth. 1 kilogram equals 9.8 newtons or 2.2 pounds. So I'm going to write that part about the measurements. So 1 kilogram equals 9.8 newtons equals 2.2 pounds. Because the other parts, I know that it's a property of matter because I wrote it up here. I know that it can be measured because I put the units of measurement. So I'm just putting the thing that's either new or that I think in my mind is probably interesting. If you're taking these with a teacher, this would be the stuff that they repeat over and over again. So the last part, use my green, weight, measured the force of gravity acting on an object. Changes when gravitational forces change. That's something new or something I was like, oh, that's a good way to look at that. So in my box, I'm going to write gravity because that's really what this hinges around. And I'm going to write gravity changes AMT, amount. And then I'm going to put its unit of measurement, which is a Newton. So again, I'm taking this information and I'm just rewriting it. So now, if you are a picture person like myself, I like pictures. I might draw this picture and go Earth I'm going to draw my stick figure and say 5 pounds equals 22.2 newtons. And then I might do a moon. And that one is 0.8 pounds, which is equal to 3.6 newtons. So again, I'm just taking the picture and putting it in something that I can make more sense of. So then on the back with volume, I'm not going to go through this whole thing because you're going to do this as part of your activity. But I will say, as you go through this, use these pieces here, because this one is set up really well. Use these pieces here to see if that's going to be your key concept over here. Don't worry about the questions at first, because what will happen is your EPIC teacher will go back through these on your day of reflection. So if you're doing, like this is science, so if you're doing your science reflection on Thursday, and you still are confused about gravity, then you'll put your post-it note here, and your question has to be related to this statement. So maybe, how does the moon's gravity differ? So I'm just making a question that goes with that statement. For your summary, you could start it out with, I learned that weight depends on the gravitational pull. Mass is constant. It is the amount of matter in an object. All I did was take this information and summarize it into 1 to 2 sentences. Your EPIC teacher is not going to look for you to write paragraphs of a summary. That's why this box is fairly small. Now, on the IDK and wonders, if there is something that you are still confused about, like what does kg really stand for? How do you measure? So I'm going to write kg. Measure? Because maybe I don't know, how do you get a kilogram? What's the difference between a kilogram and a gram? So that's a question. And then your wonders. I wonder how much atmosphere, oh, that's an E, is on the moon. So these are just, these 2 boxes down here on the bottom. I'm going to move it up so you can see. These 2 on the bottom. These are for you to fill out and to use during your reflection. So you will fill out your summary, that's a given. But when it's the week that you're doing your reflection over this item, or if this is the thing you choose to be your reflection, then these may be the questions that you do research on to find those answers to. On the back, there's just more space. So if you were to be taking notes, like I couldn't take all of these notes in this little bit of a space. So I'm not going to fill out the summary or the IDK or even the I wonder part yet. You do these parts last after you've done everything else in your notes. So you're going to focus on getting the notes taken and using up your space wisely. Using for pictures. Guys, you don't have to just draw pictures here. If you need to put them in the concept points because that's really what you want to focus on is the image and then the information with it, that's fine. These are your notes. I would recommend you getting your 2 favorite colors and then using that along with a black ink pen like I did here. So I have my information is in black, my words are in orange, my key points are in green. So this is not a have to, this is not a mandatory, this is a how do you do it if you don't know how to do it. So I hope that helps. If you have Miss Carter and Epic, we're going to go through this as a group. This is mainly for the other teachers who maybe need you guys to have a reference point because they've never taken Cornell-style notes before, or they're not used to it being so stringent like it is with Avid. So, yes, these papers are with Miss Hargis and Miss Leslie and Miss Woods. So if you can't get to me in Miss Carter's room 161, then feel free to go to their rooms, and they should have this style paper for taking notes. Guys, this is mandatory for you to take notes on. You will have to take your notes on this paper. So if you have teachers that are giving you problems, then come see us and we'll help. So there you go.